If any of you are looking at playing this game, I highly suggest you do it on the master difficulty. You'll die in about 2 shots, but it helps build that sense that you're totally out of your depth. And each combat encounter I had in the early game, I usually survived by total accident or pure luck. There is a lot of variety in the game, but Far Cry 3 suffers from a lot of feature bloating. Stuff that sounds cool, but isn't executed well. You have a first-person cover mechanic, but it pushes you around so much while shooting, I never found any use for it. In a trailer or promotional screenshot, this would look great, but doesn't translate into the game very well. There's an unlockable ability where you can drag bodies of enemies you've taken down, but once you stop moving, you drop the body, not being able to pick it up again. On top of that, I've never really had a problem with enemies finding bodies. Like, at most it puts them in a cautious state, not even going for an alarm. You can loot bodies for supplies, a really cool concept, keeping the immersion of physically grabbing an object like in the previous game. But by having such a long animation with no variation, it gets boring very quickly. Looting enemies is the exact same key as taking their weapon off them, so enjoy accidentally picking up a pirate's AK when you go to loot them. The only way around this is to equip the AK yourself, or play Surgeon Simulator, trying to position yourself perfectly where you won't pick up the weapon by mistake. You can harvest plants for injectable buffs. I assume the plant made the glass syringe as well. These can help you with things like holding your breath longer, being fireproof, and repelling animals. The only problem is they're incredibly situational. I never died of suffocation underwater. It was usually the sharks that got me first.
Well, well, well. How the turntables...
There are a few missions that require you to be underwater for long periods of time, but the devs put in oxygen canisters, making the syringe totally pointless. Being fireproof is useless, apart from a single mission involving a lot of dubstep, and why would I want to keep animals away when I skin them for hides to sell for profit? Also, the animal repellent doesn't work on the sharks. You can get actually useful syringes like healing, but there's so many medkits you'll find during gameplay, I never felt the need to craft one. My favorite syringe is the one that lets you see other plants, so you can craft more syringes. Thank you, Ubisoft. It's always been my dream to be a botanist. Far Cry is a Ubisoft game, so there's going to be a lot of jank. There are characters that despawn, and ones that didn't rapture share about 3 collective brain cells. Cutscenes that don't transition well into gameplay.
Tell anybody about a conversation, you're fucking dead.
How's it going?
Downgrades from E3.
And you are Jason Brody. Is crazy.
Floating props in gameplay, and no way to adjust the music volume in-game, which usually drowns out the experience. Honestly, for a Ubisoft game, that's not too bad, guys. A-. Also, did I mention Far Cry 3 has a stealth system? I love as well how when the pirates find the body, they're only lightly alarmed, but when the dog spots me, seemingly every single pirate in the camp knows my exact location.
I'm here!
Disgusting.
Like most stealth games in the early 2010s, crouching sets off a nuclear explosion at the white phosphorus factory, burning out everyone's retinas, making you impossible to see. And standing up is like shouting to everyone where your Minecraft coordinates are.
I live in Smethwick, Birmingham, if you want the fucking brawl. Come down, Smethwick Hospitality, I'll come out.
You can't even shoot out light sources to stay hidden, like, come on, Microsoft. Anyway, after your first real combat encounter, Jason breaks into the safe room and of course no one's there. If they were, the game would have been 15 minutes long and Ubisoft stocks would have crashed. But Dennis tells us he's found one of your friends and they're currently residing with Dr. Earnhardt. This is where the game cuts you loose. You can go to the doctor's house to progress the main plot, or you can fumble around and do any side content. I am gonna talk a lot about the side content. When you get to the mansion, you're introduced to Dr. Earnhardt. You can tell he comes from a good place, but he's quite estranged. Not totally in sync with the rest of the world around him. He has a hard time maintaining eye contact and always seems to be half awake.
Dr. Earnhardt here, or in and out, as the case may be.
Yeah, Dennis said you'd be able to help me, that you found one of my friends.
One of your friends? Huh. I am, distilling a batch later today.
What?
Morty.
This is probably due to him tasting his own product. He's allowed to reside on the island as he provides the pirates with drugs. Daisy is the friend Dr. Earnhardt is taking care of, your now deceased brother's girlfriend. She's recently gotten a fever from cutting herself on an upas tree. This is apparently a real-life tree, so toxic it's been